Let's take a look at the global mix panel. You have the close and room submixes, an effects bus, and then the main output signal. In the channel's top left corner, you have a power button, and this lets you turn the signal on and off, just like with the instrument mixing. And this also loads and unloads the samples from memory as well. Below that, you've got mute and solo buttons, and a drop-down menu to send the signal out a different audio output. You have the main volume slider here, and then there's a stereo width knob. And again, just like with the instrument mixing, once you go below 0% into the negative numbers, it reverses the left and right signals, or exchanges them rather. And then below that you have the send amount. This is the amount of signal that gets sent to the effects bus, which we'll cover shortly. Next, clicking on the effects button, you have a 3-band EQ, a compressor, and this is, unlike the instrument mixing, this is a feedback compressor. So you have input, ratio, gain, attack, and release. And all those controls are the same for the room signal as well. And then moving on to the effects bus, you have a power button to quickly turn it on and off. And you have the main volume slider for it. And you also have a drop-down menu for sending it out different audio outputs. This is a little bit different than the close and room submixes in terms of using contacts aux outputs instead. And then that way you could, for example, send the reverb out a separate audio channel, separate from the main output. So clicking on the effects, the built-in effect for the effects bus is a convolution reverb, but you can always disable that and basically have a dry signal that you could send out a different audio output and use your own reverb plugin or any other processing you want while still leveraging all of the effects bus send amount controls throughout the interface. So that's a pretty cool feature. Once that's on, you can select between different reverb models and navigate through its different preset types as well as the exact preset. And then you also have a control for the length of the reverb, delay in milliseconds, and then high pass and low pass controls. Those are useful just to help control, maybe if it's sounding too muddy, you could high pass the signal and get rid of some of those really low frequencies from getting in the reverb. And similarly, if it's a little bit too bright, you can also tone it down using the low pass. So moving on to the main output, you've got a couple final effects for that. You've got one final stage of EQ, which is just a 2-band, gain and frequency. Then there's also tape emulation, and that has gain, so you can overdrive the tape and get a little more warm distortion. Though the warmth, that would be controlled by the tone. So if you need it warmer or brighter, you can adjust that using the tone knob. And then there's also a roll-off knob below, and that lets you roll off the high frequencies. And then lastly, there's a limiter, and that has a threshold, release, and then a ceiling, which is almost like the inverse of makeup gain. So if turning on the limiter is making it too loud, you can tone it down using the ceiling to reduce the volume.